Hello everybody, my name is Draconic, and as you know, this game is Driving Empire. Most people remember that this game used to be called Wayfort, and some of you may have even played it during the years in 2019 and 2020, which is when I started playing. Over the years, our beloved Driving Empire has gone through many ups and downs, but today is a rare time where you could argue that Driving Empire is at its peak. Today we are going to go over how a small role-playing game named Wayfort became the biggest driving game on all of Roblox, and how it almost all came crashing down. To get started, we need to set the stage. It's 2019, and you're Borges, the original creating of Driving Empire. You and a few close friends have just released Wayfort. The game focuses on role-playing, with the ability for players to claim a house for free and drive a multitude of car models that have been ripped from various sources. You can be a civilian driver earning basic money, or you can be a criminal, cop, you can drive a school bus, pretty much whatever you want. There was a lot of activity in the community, and updates were slowly rolling out to the game. The player count of the game slowly started to rise, and more people found the game. Now, some time has passed, and Borges and the team can see the writing on the wall. There's a lot of people role-playing, but even more people are interested in the variety of cars in the game at this point. This was, by the way, a time before upgrades existed, or even nitro boosting, and a lot of the features weren't there back then. So many players from communities such as the Dying Vehicle Simulator hopped on the bandwagon of playing Wayfort for its realistic driving and engaging races such as the original cross-country race, the street races, and others. Everything has been going great in Wayfort, and players are happy aside from the disdain for how long updates have taken. Sometimes we would wait months, and it would feel like no new updates were even coming to the game. Map changes and new cars are coming out left and right despite the long waits, and in 2020, it's shaping up to be a great year for Wayfort. The 2020 Halloween event ensues in October, and a long legacy of game events begins with 4 new cars being introduced: the McLaren F1, the Di Tommaso Pantera, the CLK GTR, and the Chevy El Camino. Thousands of players gear up to get the new cars before the time expires. The community spirit is still high when the first Winterfest event comes around the end of 2020, with cars such as the Bugatti La Voiture Noire and the original AMG 1. As the year clocks over to 2021 though, the recently renamed Driving Empire has entered what many players believe is its first real golden age. There are a few updates this year as Borges and the development team work and prepare for big changes that are coming soon, with a lot of criticism coming upon the dev team for lackluster updates. For example, the illustrious quote-unquote summer update was pushed back months, with the only car coming from that being the Pagani's on the Revolution. Players still have a lot to do, and most servers are full of people racing and enjoying the game. The fastest way to grind was Highway Race, and it was kept interesting with a buggy chassis that broke faster cars, leading to a dynamic balancing act of stability and speed, keeping a boring straight-line race engaging for people who wanted to get fast times and records, especially with cars such as the Bugatti Bolide, the Koenigsegg Jesko, and even the Bugatti Chiron Super Sport being glitchy and unstable. With the great summer out of the way, updates picked up in the fall. We had a spookfest with great cars such as the Porsche 911 GT1 and Aston Martin Valkyrie, and cars like the Pagani Huayra R were added to the game's growing catalog of fun and detailed cars to drive with. More and more content had been added over the last year, such as upgrades in Nitro, to say a few. With 2021 eking out of the way, 2022 was set to be the biggest year in Driving Empire history, and to their credit, it was. Around this time, we started seeing more cars made in-house by the dev team of Driving Empire. We saw new events and countless new limiteds such as the McLaren Senna Can-Am, the Koenigsegg Agera Thor, the Hydra, and a bunch of other more modest cars as well. This was, to me, the best time to be a Driving Empire player. Everything was reasonably priced in a brand new map the team had been working on for ages, had just released at the start of 2022, with an expansive and incredibly fun circuit race, and with a cross-country race added just a few months later in July. All in all, the game hit its first peak at the tail end of 2022, with active servers and a loving fanbase at times. But storm clouds were brewing on the horizon. 2022 was Spookfest's biggest yet, and we rolled into the 2022 Winterfest event with even more great cars. Alongside all these great developments, this was actually the time that I was most active in the Driving Empire YouTube community. You could see me posting videos fairly often, sometimes more than once a day, as I got my foothold in the community. I was enjoying every moment of it, but that enjoyment slowly came to an end. This time, though, unfortunately, the end of 2022 is where the Driving Empire many original players knew stopped existing. On December 22nd, 2022, Driving Empire's YouTube channel released a video trailer showcasing their partnership with Roblox's second favorite games aggregator, Voldex. Voldex owns games such as Zoe and other popular titles on the platform. Many advocates who have seen what Voldex games look like raised alarm bells, but the community itself was still intact. The game's popularity began to waver in the start of 2023, with player count only typically spiking briefly on the weekends for Voldex's weekly updates, which weren't welcome to many players. The game got a lot of new mechanisms that kept players logged in and engaged, such as daily rewards and rewards for spending time online or inviting friends. it wasn't all so bad, right? In fact, Voldex had a couple good announcements and good releases, a good few updates before the dreaded month of February. Because wrong. On February 3rd, 2023, Voldex released an update that added a new crate feature that kept cars such as the 1989 Ferrari F40 Competizione and the 2015 Porsche 918 Martini behind lock and key. The crates were about 50k in-game cash each, and the rare cars had very low drop chances, hovering around 1/5%, or 1 in 500 spins. This RNG caused many players to struggle to get these cars, with unfair chances leading to some, such as myself even, spending $17 million on crates, or even more, just to get the Ferrari. This was one of the worst updates in Driving Empire history, and this was the worst Driving Empire update, for less than a month, that is. On February 24th, 2023, a brand new update hit the Driving Empire scene, and this one was exponentially worse. This was the Premium Crate update, and there are now 13 brand new cars, each one locked behind a 650 Robux paywall, or about $7 per spin per car. It was at this point that many of the original fans of the game, such as many of the QA testers, resigned from their positions or quit the game. This was, at the time, the beginning of the end for Driving Empire in the eyes of much of the community, including notable players such as General Pico, a YouTuber with around 10,000 subscribers, and a favorite of the community. They slowly left the Driving Empire YouTube scene following this series of updates. Honestly, this might have even been survivable for Driving Empire, if not for what the community did in response. Quickly following the update, and angry community members riled against Voldex, and arguably rightfully so, and filed complaints to all the car companies who had unlicensed vehicles in the game, which was all of them at the time. All of Driving Empire's realistic models, just the same as the real cars, were in blatant infringement of copyrights held by car companies. Then there was silence. For a short while, the game had nothing going on, and players were adjusting to the premium crates and other new changes that came along with them. Uh-oh, Koenigseggs are no longer in the dealership. This was the first removal or delisting of a car company from Driving Empire, and it would not be the last. Several sought-after Koenigseggs were removed from the dealership only less than a week after the introduction of premium crates. Things were not looking so good, and it was up to Voldex to set a good example of fixing relationships with the players in their game, yet they completely failed to do so. They stuck their heads in sand, and things were only getting worse, but thankfully, good news is right around the corner. Oh, I lied. It looks here like Pagani and Bugatti got removed from the game in March, two of the most sought-after car brands in the game. With more and more cars disappearing, Voldex released small updates that added a few new cars such as the McLaren F1 GTR. Just as things were getting bad, Ferrari was removed from the game, with less than a full month later on April 7th of 2023. It was at this point that I went on my first hiatus of making Driving Empire content. I slowed down to a crawl over the summer of 2023 and then stopped altogether, as few brands were left in the game, such as Rimac, SSC, Hennessy, and McLaren. With more brand removals being right around the corner for many cars that we all loved, I didn't see a point in playing a game that I had loved for years before that point. Cash from countless removals piled up in my account, and I moved on to do other things in life. It was around this time that the brand new and effectively awful upgrade system released, with necessary purchases to upgrade the car being unrealistically expensive, prohibitively expensive even, keeping most players from being able to afford to max out their cars they loved. This kept people grinding non-stop if they wanted to own every car with upgrades, since the upgrades could cost more than the car in some instances. More unpopular changes followed as cars began releasing with horrendous designs that resembled no real car. Sometimes it was a struggle to even identify what the fake cars were meant to represent. Cars like the Venom F5 Revolution came out half-baked and hated by most fans of the game. We got weeks and weeks of updates with new cars being limited to 1 or 2 per update, which itself is fine, but not necessarily when the cars are revolting and quite far away from reality. The cars were not pretty, and again, barely resembled what real cars they were meant to relate to. Indeed, to many, there didn't seem to be much of a hope left in the game of Driving Empire. Then, it happened. Voldex finally stepped up for the first time since they purchased the game in 2022. They began listening to the community, and the first light of that came in November of 2023. Pagani was officially licensed for Driving Empire. 7 brand new cars came back to the game, and players were the happiest they had been in months. There were many racing revamps that brought changes to beat times in solo races, a new way for players to earn some cash and get good at the game. Other new brands soon followed, such as Hennessy and SSC. These companies were breathing new light into Driving Empire, and Voldex was putting effort into making the game enjoyable. Many sleek UI changes and modifications were made that brought interest back into Driving Empire as well. We have brands such as Tommaso, Zenvo, Audi, Jaguar, TVR, and more come to the game since then, and now we can look forward to every new update. There have been times where Driving Empire has peaked above 30,000 players, and it has once again reclaimed the spot of the biggest racing game on Roblox. Now, it's the summer of 2024, and McLaren cars have recently officially become licensed back to Driving Empire. Countless new supercars have entered the game and I'm ready to drive each one of them. It has been quite a wild ride with Voldex and Driving Empire, but it's time to get back into the swing of things. I can't wait to see what new updates lie around the corner. I am just as excited as you are. As always, thank you all for watching. If you liked it, consider leaving a like or subscribing. That would really help out the channel, and we might even get out some new videos sooner if we hit some like goals. Shout out to you for making it to the end of the video. Leave a comment below telling me you made it here. Tell me what I missed or what you would like to see changed in Driving Empire, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.